Andrew and Lily, what's happening? Doesn't seem to be working. Well, thanks for coming to the Do Nothing Project. It's funny because it was going to be an extra minimal version this evening, so it kind of worked out that way. It's midsummer here in the northern hemisphere. I mean, not technically, but it just feels like it. Sort of the feeling of midsummer now. So this episode is called Midsummer Zero. Let's begin. If you've never been to the Do Nothing Project before, nothing really happens. Very happy to have you here. Probably lost you in the technical difficulties. If you are a regular, good to see you again. We're going to do a 25-minute meditation. You can follow along with my loose guidance if you like, or you can actually completely ignore me. You could lay on your back. You can do as I do right now, as I'm doing, and look out at I'm looking at a big walnut tree. I had some neighbors when I was living outside of town, and they had these 4 big walnut trees and went on vacation, and they came back and someone had cut down the trees because they're so valuable to wood. Anyway, you could sit and look out the window at a tree. You can, write a letter to a long lost friend, whatever your version of doing nothing is, although that sounds perilously like something. I'll ring the bell. Let's go. Okay, so as always, if you have your own meditation that you like to do, you're welcome to do that. I like to start with a few slow breaths. Coming down into my body, my posture, kind of feeling the posture, however you're sitting, feeling the alertness of the straight spine, or if you have a straight spine. If you don't, that's fine too. Breathing in, whatever, in the uprightness that you are, or if you're laying down, lengthening, and then as you exhale, kind of letting that be deliberate, the diaphragm relaxes and the shoulders can relax too. Sometimes at the beginning I like to do a check-in, just what's here? What's happening right now that I'm inside, I'm not aware of, like maybe there's a feeling of urgency or a feeling of wanting to have done something some way, or I should be doing something else. And it can be useful to kind of just notice if there's anything like that here, and then often in the noticing, it's like it ceases to become an issue. Otherwise, finding equanimity with the sounds and the sensations, or if your eyes are open, the sights that are around you, inside you. Maybe choosing a home base, a simple sensation like the breath, or a sound like a hum, or another sensation, something to anchor your attention on. Help us get settled. settled into doing nothing. Just sitting here, enjoying the opportunity to take a break. Nothing you need to do, nor you need to be. Kind of taking that in. Patient. Yeah, these things settle in their own time. Or maybe they don't settle at all, and that's fine too. Patient with that. Can't really do this wrong. As long as you're just sitting here being aware of what's going on. At least with the meditation piece, you just notice what's there. If there's lots of thoughts or few, you're distracted or not. Awareness never goes anywhere. Always right in the middle, the dead center. Sometimes things start to settle and feel yourself present. Maybe you're noticing ever quieter qualities in your experience, the soft end of the breath, the kind of underside of sounds, the hum under them. Maybe just noticing your own stillness, quiet inside if it's there. These things can be nice to actually begin to focus on. You can become aware of practically anything. As you send awareness into these quieter things, everything can create a even more of a cool out effect. Hmm. Just being, feeling the being, being the being, being a body. We'll finish with a little friendliness practice. Actually, how about bodies, towards starting with your body. Thank you, body, for getting you here. The specific details of your body, the longevity, the loyalty. Other bodies too. Looking at my mom's body as she's getting old and older, back's causing her problems. I look at her, I just have all this compassion and tenderness for her body, her aging body, taking her so far. My little son's body, he runs circles around his room screaming. So what bodies do you want to send your affection towards, your own and others? The bodies, all the bodies we know. Thank you for taking care of all those people, carrying them around, breathing for them, storing their food. Funny thinking about like bodies like this. It seems easier to find compassion, at least for me. All these bodies doing the best they can. All their differences, quirks. Well, that was another rousing episode of the Do Nothing Project. Thank you for your practice. Thanks for sticking around if you were among those waiting at the beginning. Apologies for the delay. True do nothing. Nothing for 15 minutes and then highly minimal practice. Thank you, friends. Thank you, Sylvia. Thanks, Sally. Gwen, Catherine, Fred, Jeff. Being a being. All the bodies, totally, Holly. Mahalo. Nice, Siobhan. Thanks, Martin. Thanks to all the bodies, friends. Thank you, Andrew, for saving my bacon, as always. Making that new link. Hey, Steven. I think I'll be here next week. I don't know. I go up north in the summer, and that's usually when the Do Nothing Project gets even more sketchy because I don't have internet up there that's any good. I'm trying to get that figured out, but probably won't be figured out by next weekend. So if I'm away, it might be Andrew or someone else subbed in if I can find someone, unless I can't, in which case, like last week, it'll be it'll be 2 weeks, but I think someone will be there, if not me. So, summertime, it gets a bit slow. Okay, question from James. Would you mind explaining to me in your words the meaning of the term non-identification? Yes. That is an insanely deep question. Probably the deepest question. One of the deepest questions. Because it's like, you can go down the rabbit hole with that question. Basically, who's aware? Who's aware? You think you're aware. Me, this person, this body, this mind, I'm aware. And then you start looking at your experience. And there's different ways you can do this. In Hindu, they go nadi nadi, not this, not this, not this. Meaning they see something, if they can see it, then you're not it. So you notice the thought, okay, I'm not, if I'm looking at it, I'm not the thought. And it keeps going back from there. You're trying to find who you are, who the person who's aware is. But guess what? You never find it. There is never something you can find in the middle, in the heart of everything that's aware. There's just awareness. So non-identification is the process of slowly moving in that direction. You start out, you feel a sensation, and instead of going, that's happening to me. And then, because as soon as you go, that's happening to me, there's like a kind of coagulation around it. There's a bit of like suffer clingy to it. Same with the thought. It's the identification with the thought that's what creates so much of the suffering of it. So you just go instead, you practice going, oh yeah, that's just sensation. Just like you listen to sounds. You're hearing sounds, you don't go, oh my God, you don't take that sound personally if you don't like the sound. Well, you have to start getting in that, non-identification is getting in the mindset of not taking your own thoughts and sensations and feelings personally, as weird as that sounds. So you feel sadness, and you go, oh yeah, there's sadness. And the part that's noticing there's sadness is not in the sadness because it's further back. And you notice thought, oh, I'm going to be late. You're like, oh yeah, I'm going to be late. Oh, there's the thought, I'm not going to be late. And so you pop out of that. And the part that's noticing you're going to be late is not the you're going to be late thought. And you can keep going back, noticing ever more subtle layers of thinking, layers of identification. Always doing the same unidentification, saying, hey, if I can see it, it's not me. Just watching it. You don't even have to say if I can see it, it's not me, but it's sort of implicit in the stance. And eventually, you just like turn yourself inside out and realize there's nobody home. Nobody there at all. Not, not in the sense that most people think when they hear that. It's not like there is a body, there is a mind, and you are part of that process. But the part of you that's most intimately you, that's kind of looking at this screen and receiving it right now, that's aware of it right now, is completely empty. It's like a dial tone. It's the most mind-blowing thing a human being can understand. And it sounds like gibberish until you just realize that it's true. That you're not aware at all. Awareness is aware. The same awareness in me is in you. It's just awareness. And it's just things coming up in awareness. And you don't have to take any of it personally. So non-identification is the path of liberation, of moksha, enlightenment, whatever you want to call it, the movement towards more and more freedom. Because when you don't take things so seriously, you can move with so much suppleness and ease inside this body-mind that you miraculously found yourself inside. That awareness found itself inside in this lifetime. There you are. You don't have to cling and grab onto any of it. You don't have to worry about any of it because awareness is untouchable. It's also, by definition, it'll never die. And that's what you kind of start to realize. Where could it go? The body-mind dies, but the awareness was never a thing in the first place. And that's the kind of direction of practice, which is a lot of something for the end of a do-nothing project. And you don't have to believe any of it. You just don't even have to believe anything I said. You just keep exploring and see what shows itself to you. Often it's not a vivid expression of that you see. It's something more like a slow, for most people, it's sort of a slow understanding of taking themselves less and less personally, taking themselves less and less seriously. It's like the slow erosion where all of that stuff's happening, but it's just not happening in an explicit way. You go, oh, I'm not identifying, I'm having a no-self experience. You just get older and wiser and more relaxed. So that's a bunch of blabbity-blab words that I saved up for y'all after 50 minutes, 55 minutes of nothing. So I'm going to go read my book. Thank you, everybody. Maybe see you next Sunday. Maybe you'll see Andrew. Maybe you'll see someone else. Maybe you'll see nothing. Happy to be here with you. Humanity's pal. The blabbity-blab. Dude, James, takes forever for that thing to sink in. Takes a lifetime. It's still sinking in for me. Is it true? It is true, but it's still sinking in. Sometimes I forget.